Hare Krishna, welcome back. We talked about heroes, and heroes cannot tolerate certain things. What, for example? Well, first of all, I've been in Australia for some time, backpacking, and I had some, in Australia there are snakes. They are marketed as the most deadly snakes in the world, but we had a health and safety snake awareness course at one employer there, and the guy said, well, yes, they are the deadliest snakes in the world if you're a mouse. Because all the tests been done on mice, and nowadays the whole process of dealing with snake bites is quite different. You're not cutting open and suck out and stuff like that. You just try to relax, because snakes actually want to preserve their poison for their prey, and they're not eating us. They're just defending themselves. Anyway, whole purpose is, as we hopefully know, especially in areas where there are snakes, or if you're traveling to areas where there are snakes, you should know the snake isn't interested in you, the little poisonous snake. You're not the prey, right? The only time they bite you is, of course, when you attack them, when you close to their nest, or if you don't see them and you accidentally step on top of the snake. It's a reflex. There is pressure on their back, boom, the head goes for it and bites. That's a reflex. Could be a predator trying to eat the snake. So if you step on a snake, the snake, it's a reflex. It cannot help itself but bite. And he was presenting it. He had this little snake there and this long metal rod, pushing gently, not brutally, just gently on the snake's back, and immediately trying to bite. Right? And you could say, well, you just want to stroke the snake on the back. You want to have a loving exchange, and you stroke the snake on the back and see how aggressive it is. It just tries to bite you. Well, whose fault is it? Well, ultimately it's ignorance. You don't know that it's a reflex of the snake when it feels some pressure on the back that it bites. And the snake doesn't know, because it feels pressure on the back, it feels threatened, that you actually want to have a loving exchange there, right? Some cuddling going on. So it's a misunderstanding, and it's a reflex for the snake side, and if we understand, that triggers the snake, we avoid it and we won't get bitten. It's as simple as that, in that example with the snake. And guess what? Similar situation happens in relationships. If you simply don't understand what triggers the other person's false ego. And it's like a reflex. And again, we're talking about the man here, understanding that. And again, later on it will be clear why we focus on the men only here for the time being anyway. The topic is so big, men and women, and I just want to have a certain presentation here. So we have to just focus on one aspect and just go through with it, and at the end it hopefully will become clear. Again, it's not about blaming one side or the other side. It's not about disadvantage, putting some disadvantage on one side or the other side, or whatever, discriminating in any way. It's simply part of the presentation. It leads to something. Okay. So for men, since they want to be the hero, since they want to feel needed, they're thriving on that. They want to be the provider, the protector, the hero, that person which is needed by his wife, or just anyone actually. When even for someone he just randomly helps because of this situation, it makes his day. And the worst thing for a man, on the flip side, is if he is the loser in the eye of a woman. If he's the loser, if he's not needed. Right? If she laughs at him, if she thinks he's useless, there's nothing more painful. Nothing more painful for a man than that. Okay. So that's the opposite. You have the hero on one side, and if he cannot be the hero, if the woman thinks he's useless, it's the most painful thing, completely cuts his motivation, his inspiration, everything. And how does that manifest in everyday life? How is he the hero? He can provide solutions for problems. But if she, from his perspective obviously, if she knows better, if she provides the solution, well, he automatically is the loser. It's a bit like, oh. If he needs her help, that's so embarrassing for a man. Because it's not he who needs, who is supposed to need the help. It's he who provides help. It's he who protects, provides. Who is the hero? So the opposite situation where he is the needy and needs her, that would be the most painful situation for a man. And a man avoids that at all costs. At all costs. How to proceed? Maybe with a little example first. A funny one, which we probably all know if we are in a relationship a little bit longer and we live together and have done some home improvement things, like building a furniture up together. It's like an IKEA thing, just assembling it, or assembling something for the garden, or even painting the house, or something where men, husband and wife, work together. Right? Sometimes it so happens that we get stuck. So, building a furniture piece. Something is missing here. Well, how do we have to put that together that something doesn't work? And then Super Soul having some humorous moments here, showing the sense of humor. Super Soul gives the solution directly into the hearts of both the husband and the wife. Simultaneously, they both get the idea at the same time. Super Soul provides the solution, and what is the man doing? He straight away rushes to it, executing the task. Yeah. And what is the wife doing? She talks. She speaks it out. She says, "Hey, why don't we do it this way?" Oh, for men, it's just like, I was just about to do it. And now it looks like I needed her suggestion. False ego kicks in. He can't tolerate it. He can't. It's so painful. It seems like, oh, well, let's work together, cooperate, and, well, what's the big deal? And then he has all sorts of reactions. Devaki Mataji gives this example, how that was a situation for them when she was married. And her husband then said, well, I was just about to do that. But since you just said it, I cannot do it anymore. And we've been in that situation ourselves, most likely. And men deal with that situation in different ways. We just can't do it. It pains, it hurts, and you say, oh, no, I don't think it'll work like that. We have to do it a different way. He cannot admit, that he just was about to do it because how does that look like? He's not the hero. I think personally that's Krishna having some fun as the super soul having some fun, seeing how or testing us, something like that. How do we deal in that situation? Yeah. And it's so painful for the man. And the wife will not understand, why is he acting like that? It's pretty obvious. If we do that so together, then it'll work. Right? But it's not about the nail. In that case, it's also not about the nail. It doesn't make any sense. Right? Why is the husband acting like that? Why is he not just doing that? Simply because he needs to be the hero. And he seems to appear as the loser. He didn't know the solution. I mean, he can't claim he knew it, right? And then sometimes things even break because he just can't do it. It blocks. It's like a blockage. He can't do it. So then there are different ways. Either he actually finds an alternative solution, which is probably far more complicated, but he got the solution. He's still the hero. He found a better way. Right? He found a better way doing it, even though it may not be the better way. Okay? And what else? The wife is over the situation. It's like, I can't deal with that guy anymore. I need a break. So the wife goes away. And while she's away, and he's sure she's not looking, what does he do? He quickly does it by himself, maybe even hurting his shoulder because he doesn't have the help of someone else lifting or holding or stabilizing the situation, whatever they're just building. Does it himself very quickly, making sure she doesn't notice that he does exactly what he was thinking and what she was proposing. And then he claims, I found a better way. We all know those situations. As a man, when we've been in that situation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If, as a lady, you've been working with your husband, right, building a furniture, assembling a furniture, assembling something for the garden, doing something and renovating, and you said, why don't you do it this way? And he's acting like this. That's exactly what happened. Super soul having fun, and he gave both of you the solution at the same time, and he's about to execute it, and you say it out loud, and then he can't do it anymore, because it would look like he needs your help. It's hilarious, it's nonsense, but that's how the male false ego works. And if you know that, simple solution. You get the idea and you just don't say anything. At the end of your life, right? When you're disturbed from those situations, how can you chant? How can you deepen your relationship with Krishna? At the end of life, when you leave your body, does it still matter who was right there? It doesn't. What matters is, could you chant with focus and concentration and heartfelt, from your heart? Can you call out to Krishna? When your mind is disturbed for all those pity situations, can you chant? You can't, right? So you can see how again, how differently the false egos manifest. And how, because the man feels he needs to be in charge, he wants to be the hero. That's really his purpose in life. It makes him thrive in a relationship. If he has a purpose, if he is needed, wow, he's just going day and night, working out hard for his family. That's what makes him thrive. But then if he's not needed, if she knows it all already, if he cannot project how heroic it is, that inspiration goes down. He feels not needed. Then there's no thrive. Thriving to do things, thriving to provide, to protect. Then he feels useless. Feels embarrassed if it seems like he needs help. It's the most painful thing. And then there will be reactions like that. He'll bite. He will think, why did she have to say it? And I know a better way. that won't work. Something like that. If you ever wondered why that situation is like that, simply because of his false ego. I think I'll stop here. And then we're gonna look next time in a situation where that whole aspect of hero and trampling upon a snake, how that can affect his devotional life, how it can affect him being a devotee if the wife doesn't understand it, at least a little bit. And we're not talking about a malicious wife with bad intention who wants to purposefully hurt that person. No, we talk about the opposite. We talk about a wife which cares for him from the depth of her heart. If she doesn't understand that, and there will always be challenging situations in our lives where maybe we're struggling a little bit with our devotional service, for example, or with our work, or with financially, or whatever. There will be struggles. Let's talk about devotional life. She can actually completely, I don't want to say she can completely destroy his devotional life for this lifetime. Let's say block it. Let's say hamper it to such an extent that he actually goes backwards, while the wife is the most well-meaning, trying to inspire him, while at the same time not understanding what makes the snake bite. She can completely block his devotional service for this lifetime. As funny as it sounds, it's possible. And that's what we're going to discuss next time. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.